This is my first podcast, and I thought, what better not to have my sister on my first podcast so I can get comfortable. And look at her setup. If you guys are watching from YouTube, look at her setup. So, wow, long time.
You look
Okay,
you
so
look beautiful.
thank you. So do you.
Thank you.
So I have my notes here, and I thought, let's start it for people that pretend people don't know you. So
Okay.
let's start it like that. Obviously, I already said we're sisters, but let's just dive in. So we have the
Okay.
one and only JadaAmor. She has 600,000 plus followers on Instagram.
I love this.
And
Like I'm a celebrity.
yeah,
Like
you
a funny.
kind of are though, like a Instagram one. So I want to just open up the video for people that may not know you. Like, let's start with your social media. So, like, how old were you when you first started on social media, preferably your Instagram, because that's kind of where you have the bigger following, right?
Right. Okay. Little interview. So it started, I think I was 16 when we went into homeschooling and I was bored. So I was like, I want to model. I want to, work on my Instagram. And I think around 17 is when it started climbing because I was with my first boyfriend. And I posted little couple videos and those were going viral. And so it climbed my Instagram up. So I've been doing social media since I was a teenager, like a young
Yeah.
age. And then after that, I went into 18, we moved to LA, and that's when I started modeling and, being a little bit more of like an Instagram model. And
Yeah.
that's where it started. So I've been doing it for a long time.
So when you started, it was like a couples thing that kind of made you grow, like the couple photo Instagram era. And
Yeah.
then when you guys broke up, where did you start taking your platform from there? Like, what was your content?
So that's when my content was just in a swimwear, working for Fashion Nova, Pretty Little Thing. I got brands with them and I was working for them full time. I kind of just would just ride the wave of whatever was trending. So when I first started, that's what was trending was like couples. You had a lot of YouTube couples that are going viral. So I was just sticking to what's working.
Yeah. So what made you continue with social media till this day? Do you enjoy it?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we
a great
did.
question. I don't know. It's
Okay.
just a part of me.
Yeah, I was gonna
I don't
say
even,
you started when you were young, so
it's like a part of my confidence. It's almost like kind of an ego thing. Like I kind of have to showcase myself of like what my new journey is. It's like a
yeah.
part of my life. It's a part of my life. I don't think I necessarily enjoy it sometimes. I don't want to do it, but it feels weird not to do it,
Yeah, I feel that. I feel
you
the same
know?
way. So do you have any regrets on starting that young on social media? Like, has it affected your self-esteem,
Ooh,
maybe your self-value, your self-worth,
ooh,
your
ooh,
confidence? Because I know for a
ooh,
minute it
ooh.
was skyrocketing our confidence. So,
Oh my
any
goodness.
regrets? What do you feel?
Absolutely. I don't want my kids on social media at all when I have children. It it boosted my confidence at the time because I just endured like we both endured like just bullying and just bad experiences in our teenage years. And so I think it did boost our confidence and made us feel good. But it also you get addicted to going viral
Mm-hmm.
and seeing the views. So there was mistakes I definitely made to get quick either money or views. And
Yeah.
when you're doing social media and you started that young, you don't see how this stuff will affect your life. It's just fun. You're in the moment. You're very much in the moment. And it can ruin your reputation by making the wrong mistake or saying the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of times I've gone on live and people screen recorded them and I was like cussing out an ex or somebody. And that is on YouTube, and that's not even a part of my character anymore. What else? Also, it would affect me when I settled down into getting married. I had such a big ego because I was used to getting praised all the time. That's
Mm-hmm.
another thing. I was used to people being more mesmerized by me and caring about everything I do,
Mm-hmm.
that I had a hard time not being narcissistic. And I think that social media does create a lot of narcissistic people. I mean,
Yeah.
how could it not? It's people are following you to see what you're doing, how you're doing it. You're gonna get a little big-headed.
I
So,
agree. So lightly, like kind of going into getting obsessed with being viral, like you said, I lightly just want to touch on this, because I know we're probably not the main, piece for this, but lightly want to touch on kind of when I first became viral, being on social media too with you was, we got a little caught up into a scandal. And
oh
I
my
feel like
gosh,
we've never talked about it. And I know it's cringy. And
it's so cringy.
I don't think people know how bad we like are just so embarrassed of that
It's so
time.
embarrassing.
Like I was 17, you were 18 years old. I would never, even care to do any of that anymore. But I want to talk about it
No.
for the people that don't know. We are talking about a scandal we were involved in with some, I won't name them, but they're two, at the time there were some famous YouTubers, they were married and they had a family channel. And basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but we kind of
Hopped on.
we hopped on because we knew there was some infidelity, and we right away turned it into a YouTube video telling the story of what we witnessed of the infidelity. And whew,
I
yeah,
know.
it was my first time really being on social media. And I think um we always shy away from talking about this, but it's kind of how I started my following, to be completely honest with you. I blew up, got 10,000 followers in like 2 months
Right.
because of that situation. And I think before we posted this YouTube video, we didn't really have any idea that it was going to become as big as it was. Of course, we knew people were going to see it and people were going to talk about it, and it was drama because that's what we were doing. But I don't think we realized it was going to blow up. And it's still on the internet. I mean, it really is. So I
Right.
don't think we realized that far into it. And how was receiving someone's entire million follower fan base attacking you and us, me, you, and the third person involved? But like, how was that? How was that on you? Wasn't that your first time like getting really severely a whole fan base just bullying you?
Yeah, I mean, we went from kind of having some followers and doing our own little thing to a lot of people had their eyes on us, and in a bad way. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the dumbest part was that me and you didn't have contact with this guy. We weren't intimately involved with this guy. We were friends with a girl that was, and we just so happened to be like, oh, this would be a great opportunity to also get our name out there. And it was the dumbest way to possibly take advantage
Of some
of
followers.
some followers. And when you're young and there are people that don't mind trolling and don't mind having that associated with their name. But I think that being older, having a team, a management team is so important because they will tell you what is smart and what's not smart. And when we're young and just have access to social media, you might get a little like, oh, this will go viral or this
Mm-hmm.
will, and you're not thinking about, hey, wait a second, this is like real life,
Yeah.
people that are
And
actually
like,
really married,
yeah. And
and
I think too, like piggybacking off of that, us both kind of being in me engaged and you married, like I couldn't imagine my
The
marriage.
pain.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that. Yeah. And it's just like now we're older, we realize, marriage has struggles, it has ups and downs,
Yeah.
it's forgiveness, it's work. So
Yeah.
to know that, what we did, we were just not thinking anywhere near that.
Immaturity.
Yeah, immature.
Yeah.
That's what I would call it.
Not honestly, when you're a little bit younger, not to make excuses, but you're not really in real life, like thinking about real life. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
to me, they're just YouTubers and they make videos and do stuff to go viral all the time. So why can't we? But that's their brand. They have an agreement. They still married and go through their own things. And this is
Exactly.
very much a personal issue that could have been brought to her personally instead of not thinking about that part. You know what I mean? And yes, like you said, now being married and you're engaged and we're in very serious relationships, we see that you go through rough times and you don't want anybody knowing the rough times or it getting leaked before you got to decide if you even want that
Yeah,
information out there. It's
exactly.
yeah.
I agree. So just had to touch on that. We've never talked about that in years.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a
Well, if
big,
she ever comes across this,
yeah,
we apologize
I do
for
sincerely
immaturity.
apologize. I do sincerely apologize. But I'm glad to see, hopefully she's in a happier place today. That always makes me feel good. So,
Amen.
yes. So, taking a turnover on social media and
Mm-hmm.
your platform, what you do. Uh, let's bring it back to what you did. And I
Uh-oh.
want to talk about OnlyFans. So,
Oh, okay.
okay, not that
I'm with it.
scary.
Nope.
Okay, so me and you both kind of started OnlyFans. We opened up an OnlyFans account at the same time. I remember I was 19 and we were texting about it, and I hadn't heard of it yet. But you were like, "Should I get on it? I heard you make a lot of money. Should I do it?" And I was like, "Hold on, let's do it. It makes sense. We
Mm-hmm.
have all these male followers. It's really easier to make money when you have a lot of male followers than
Right.
using fashion brands because they see your insights. They see you don't have a lot of females.
Right.
So it's harder to get paid. And I don't know if a lot of people that aren't influencers know that, but it's actually, brands like to work, Fashion Nova, fashion brands like to work with people that have a lot of women followers. Why would they want to pay somebody that's got mainly men? So at the
Right.
time, it sounded perfect for both of us. I think I had 80% male followers. Could you say this near the same?
Yes, nearly the same, maybe even
So
higher.
yeah, so it just made sense. This platform made sense to make money from it, make money from all these followers we have to hop on OnlyFans. I don't think either one of our intentions, nor did we, was to be nude or, the real reputation OnlyFans has or had.
Right.
But, the photos we were already posting were very seductive. So why not, put it on something where you can get paid? So jumping
Mm-hmm.
into OnlyFans, I feel like you talk a lot about OnlyFans on your Instagram. You're very open with how you quit OnlyFans and what came after
Yes.
that financially. So I kind of just speak for you, but I want to know, like, in the beginning of OnlyFans, what was your thought process of using this platform? What did you want to gain from this platform?
Money.
Yeah.
Just me. I love how professional you are with these questions. Girl,
Money for
broke. I was broke. Okay. And I remember specifically that so many people told me that I should do OnlyFans. I was like, no, I can't do it. No, I can't do it because I'm already so extra on Instagram wearing bathing suits and my booty's all out most of the time in these bathing suits. And when I found out you said, I'm going to do OnlyFans, I could just post swimsuit stuff. I said, what? Little
right?
Miss, you are very Little Miss conservative, very, I don't want people seeing me a certain way. And so when you were hopping on it, I said, I'm doing it. And I wanted to make some money. I owed money to an apartment. And I was working still for Fashion Nova at the time, but it's not as big of a check as OnlyFans. And you could just
Yeah.
pay off everything And that's why, honestly.
Okay, so this is gonna be the hot question of the day. What is
Okay.
the most money you made on OnlyFans in 1 month?
10,000.
Girl, that's a
Girl, people be
lot.
making more though. People
I
be making
know.
more.
I know them. I know some of them. But okay, how old were you when you made 10,000 a month off of pictures?
Yo, how old were
You had to
we?
be 20
20?
because I was 19.
20? 20? Yeah.
So
That's
being
a young
20,
age.
that's what I was gonna say. Being 20 and receiving $10,000 in a month. Like, how did you spend your money? Like, were you that's a lot for a 20-year old to have. I just want to know.
Irresponsibly.
Tell us. What'd you buy? What were you
Irresponsibly.
spending?
Girl, I don't even know.
Because you
I
didn't
be
invest in any of
had
it.
nothing. I got myself an apartment uh at the top floor with a beautiful view
Hmm.
that cost me thousands of dollars a month. I got a swinging chair, a little swinging chair. That sounds like sexual, but it was one of those just hammock chairs, and that cost me a couple $100. Got myself a huge screen TV,
I
paid
remember
for a
that
maid,
one.
paid for a maid monthly, went to Miami twice,
I remember
one
that.
month. Yeah, you went with I bought your plane ticket.
You did.
I did.
She bought
And you
my
bought
plane
the
ticket.
Airbnb with show hoochie money, and I bought the ticket for you. It cost $700 that we decided to go to at the last minute. And what else? And then we took a boat ride and we
Yeah, we
did
had
all
a great
kinds of
time.
stuff. What else? Went to Atlanta. I invested $10,000 into a short film because I
Oh,
wanted number, but I don't have access to it because the guy that
okay.
helped
All right.
direct it,
We are getting a little.
put his name on it and I couldn't do nothing with it. So I wasted 10 racks on that, blew
Thanks,
that.
sir. We appreciate that.
Thank you for a waste of money. It was fire too. CGI and all. Mm,
So
I'm
what
a
the
horrible
heck?
person.
If you could go back, what would you have invested that OnlyFans money on for
So
yourself?
one thing I did do well at is I with my last few checks, I uh got us an apartment, me and my husband an apartment, and I went and paid in full esthetician school, and I opened my business with the
That's
little
nice.
money I had saved. So I think that was the best investment. If sometimes me and him talk about it because at the time I was married when I still had an OnlyFans, and we wish that, with those last checks, just went and maybe got some property, some houses,
I agree.
Airbnb them out. I seen OnlyFans girls do that. Just be a little smarter if you're going to make a decision like that. You don't want to just do OnlyFans and then the day you do quit, you have nothing. You
Yeah.
haven't built anything. So if you're going to make a decision like that, at least be, smart at it. I think being an esthetician, I do make pretty good money. But
Hmm.
I wish I did more because I don't have much to show for it. So
That's what I was gonna say too. Like because I didn't invest really in any of it at all. Really, I mean, I got my boobs done and put a couple hundred away for that, but that was just for a down payment on them. That's about the most I did. But I
that's
didn't
fair.
make that much. I think I made like 4,000 on my highest month, and I mean, I didn't really have a high month after that, but same, I would say now to girls on it, women on OnlyFans, like do what you want to do. I'll talk in a minute on why you quit doing it, but if you are going to do it, invest in it, like, because this
Hmm.
is not a sustainable, I mean, your OnlyFans can get removed, your Instagram can get removed. I mean, I remember that being
Yeah.
always my biggest fear because that's how I promoted it was through my Instagram followers, obviously. So
Right.
if my Instagram got banned, you ain't getting no more people to go to your OnlyFans. So, and then obviously there's other stuff that comes from that, like,
Hmm.
your self-esteem, your worth. It's, everything
Gosh.
kind of gets shot down. But invest in it, have a game plan, have a timeline,
Hmm.
because I don't think it's, especially if you're making 10,000 a month plus, you should have been
Right.
bought a house.
Girl. I could have paid off a house.
Right? Okay. Tell us why you walked away from OnlyFans. For the people that don't know, I know you've spoken on it on YouTube, Instagram before, but um, why would somebody who's making 10,000 a month at 20 years old in her early 20s, why would you get off of that platform?
So, one thing you did say is, like, do what you want to do. And at the end of the day, I know that we can't stop people from doing what they want to do, but I would say don't do it. Literally, as try your hardest to pick something else because the aftermath of it is just not worth it. I would say one big reason obviously is my relationship with God. I started to convert. I wouldn't say we really grew up religious. Like
Yeah.
we didn't grow up with that in our household. Like mom believed in God, but we didn't really talk about it
Mm-hmm.
until I, got married and he did come from a religious home and they were in the church and I started to read the Bible more and it made me feel very convicted and I started to gain this faith of like, if I let this go, I don't know if you ever seen the picture of the teddy bear. Jesus has the teddy bear, a
Yeah.
big teddy bear behind his back, and he's saying, "Give me the little teddy bear." Well, my
Mm-hmm.
OnlyFans was my little teddy bear. I mean, that was my comfort, money, my security, and I just felt him saying, "Give this to me, and then I will give you back something greater." And
Mm-hmm.
I was so scared. I was so scared because it's comfort, it's fast money, it's easy money, and once I let it go that's when the tradition started happening. I went to esthetician school. I got really good, really fast. I opened a business and God has just had my back all the way through. And I I feel better as a woman that I'm not doing something that just sexualizes me.
Yeah.
I'm doing something where I'm proud. I'm wearing scrubs,
Oh,
to work. And then when I go on my lunch break, people ask, what do you do? And I get to say, oh, I run a business, I'm an esthetician. And it just feels good besides doing something that, men pay to see my body.
yeah.
It's just you're worth more. I wish I really believed that at the time that I was worth more and that, and then it's attached to your name forever, you
Yeah.
know? It's attached to your name forever. There are people that follow me that are always going to remember me as that that it will never respect me no matter what I say. If I say I'm a Christian woman now, if they were to see me on the street, they're gonna still whistle or say, "Oh, I seen you half naked." There's also it messes with your mind
Yeah.
heavily, right? I think you can agree to that. It you when you get money like that, it makes it 10 times harder to humble yourself. It's so hard to accept slower weeks or slower months financially
Yeah.
it's like,
That's
it's
huge.
just so easy that I could just go and do this hustle, you know? Um, there's people that seen me in a way I don't want them to have seen me. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I didn't do porn specifically, I was sexual, I over
Yeah.
sexualized myself. And there's people, anybody has access to your OnlyFans and they can see you in that way. And we tell ourselves we don't care. We tell ourselves, well, I'm a woman, I can do whatever I want and anybody should accept me. Well, I think let's be realistic. You should know if you're going to do that, if people are going to look at you a certain way or treat you a certain way, you have to be okay with that because it's just not realistic that everyone's going to respect that. It's just not. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
So how was
It's
it getting in a relationship with that, like finding your now who you are married to? How was that? How do women come back from doing that and find a husband who is strong in faith? Was that difficult? Did he accept you? Did you guys have a conversation about that?
he I remember just sitting in the car and he just wasn't supportive, of it. He did, but he didn't. Like it's like, okay, this is what you gotta do to make money. But I can tell that he was just like, like you could be doing
Yeah.
something else. And that would make me mad. But it was that conviction, that guilt that I
Yeah.
didn't like feeling. Just like support what I'm doing. And like he can't support sin. It's just not a part of who he is. And like he thinks that a woman should be more covered or just, value
Yeah.
themselves and keep themselves just for the man. And then when we got married is when it really started to take up a notch. Before we were married, it was like, I get that's what you want to do. I think you could do something else,
Yeah.
and put your gifts into somewhere else. He was very supportive of any other dream I had.
Yeah.
He's very supportive. And then when we got married, he said, I don't like this. Like, well, you're my wife, you know what I mean? And you're making money off these men, and it just made him feel comfortable. Also, like, he goes back home to his family and friends, and if they they're talking about, his wife, is shaking her butt on OnlyFans, and it's just embarrassing
It
for a
is.
man. And if you respect your man, I really feel, and he feels some type of way, instead of twisting of like, you should just accept me for who I am, I think it's a partnership where it's like, okay, let me sacrifice something. And to be honest, what I'm sacrificing is something that is okay to be sacrificing. It's not the best thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So me giving it up isn't like you're taking something from me. It's like you want me to be a better woman. So I valued that and respected how he felt, for sure.
Yeah. I think same to everything you said. I was on it, and yeah, we weren't doing porn or anything like that, but still, those type of pictures. And I actually don't know if you even know this. I hid it. I hid it from him. The first, I
You
mean, I
did.
didn't tell him. I hid him from my stories, actually. He knows this now, so I'm telling the world. But
So what was his reaction when he found out?
I had
You a
actually
liar.
I actually deleted it right when we started having the conversation about how we wanted to get engaged, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, it's different when we're dating. In the beginning we were long distance. I still felt like
Mhm.
I was my own person. And then when we started talking about, okay, we're going to get engaged in the next few months, I knew it was coming. That's kind of when my panic settled in, because I was not going to go into this next step in our life. And I also felt
Right.
just a huge amount of guilt that's so embarrassing. And I don't want to be that type of wife. Like, if I'm about to be somebody's wife, I want to be a wife.
That's
So
how I felt. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like, now this isn't cute anymore. Like, before it was kind
Yeah.
of cute. So I actually I deleted it. I found a job. I found a job in my field, which I loved. It was good money. I actually prayed months leading up to being engaged that I would find a job, and I landed a job that paid me about the exact same that I was getting monthly on OnlyFans.
Mm.
And I was praying for that because I needed that financial stability, at the
Right.
time. So I prayed and prayed, and I got this random opportunity. They reached out to me. It was everything in my field is what I love to do. It was paying the same amount. They hired me within like a week. And I still believe to this day
Mm.
that was God, because I never applied to this
Amen.
job. I never applied to this job. I didn't know these people. It was actually a bourbon company. No idea what bourbon, whiskey, none of that stuff was. I was not educated in that, but I learned real quick. And it came a couple months before I got engaged. And as soon as I got my first paycheck from my job,
Hmm.
my new job, I deactivated the OnlyFans because I told myself, and I could have kept both and made double,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I prayed. I told
God
God,
gave you something.
I said, God, I will delete it. I will delete it if you can replace it. And I never had anything in my head where I was like, oh, I kind of want to keep it now, like double the money. Why not?
Hmm.
That never popped in my mind. I instantly deleted it, and I just watched the money get, it all was over for me. And I told him after I deleted it, I was so ashamed. I was so
Yeah.
embarrassed. And I showed him a couple things I would post on there, um, that I had found online or whatever, saw on my
Mhm.
phone. So he kind of knew that it wasn't like, terrible. I think his biggest thing was like, he was glad I was gone, and he was glad that I had came to that mentality myself, like, hey,
Love
this is
that.
not it. So I that's kind of how he found out. Yeah. And he wasn't even like, it wasn't that scary of a conversation either. So I
That's
kind of
good.
wish I had it earlier, but it's done now and don't
I
have
love
it.
that I love that sometimes about men of the faith. They care about your growth, more than
Yeah.
anything. It's not like, oh my gosh, how could you have done this to me? It's like, I'm glad that you're like stepping into a mature womanhood and you figured that out on your own. Love that. And I
Thank
love that you talked about God, because that's how I felt with the OnlyFans, and then you become an esthetician, because I remember praying and praying and praying when I opened the doors to my business. I was like, this is dumb. Like, what if I just like lose so much money? And my
Mm-hmm.
first client that walked in, and I had a lot of faith leading up to that point because I let it go when I went and gave the full money in cash to, pay off school. And I went in, I was like, okay, I deleted it because I'm in school now and this is what I'm doing. But my first day opening, this girl walked in, my very first client
Oh,
walked in and she said, so I know you're a believer, know you're a Christian woman. I am too. And she was like, and I seen your story and I want you to know that like I'm so proud of you. And I was like, first of all, how I'm in Vegas. How is
yeah,
my first client walking in here a Christian woman who's validating me and
yeah,
comforting me? And I prayed right before she walked in, God, I'm so scared, I'm nervous. But isn't God good? That's why I'm like, God will
yes,
open the doors, man, for you.
right. And just, I mean, it happened 2 months before I got engaged. It was like
Mhm.
countdown. And yeah, I 100% know that that was God. And I did exactly what I promised to him too, that I was going to do. And now we are here. Look at us. I want to,
Ah,
yeah, I want to wrap it up a little bit.
okay.
And kind of just know like what is next for the one and only JadaAmor? What is next
Oh,
for you? What's next in, where your career, your plans with your social media? What's next for you that, people on here listening can take from you and move forward with you with?
so one thing I feel like, even though I built up my social media the wrong way for years, I think that now I have, a lot of people watching me, followers, and I think our job now is just to kind of spread, either God's word or just wisdom,
Amen.
how we learned, how we matured, so we could help guide other people.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing right now I'm kind of focused on is fitness. I'm not really like an athlete, but I did lose weight, so I kind of talk about that transition, but more focused on the sicknesses that were in my mind from eating poorly and just um, dealing with different spiritual attacks and how losing weight helped me a
Mm-hmm.
lot spiritually and physically and mentally. And then I think I might do a podcast. My hubby thinks I should, so I could talk
I
about
think
marriage.
you should. And that, yeah,
Yeah.
that was one thing too. I was like, I really think you can educate and just gain so much, people's knowledge in marriage and being married young and being like,
Woo! Having to grow
yeah,
together.
growing together. And I really want that space for you, which is kind of why I didn't bring any marriage stuff up today, because I know you're gonna have podcasts. I'm
Yeah.
pushing you to do it.
Yeah,
And
I'm gonna do it.
yeah, you have to do it. You have
I
so
think
much
I
knowledge.
and I love what you're doing because you have so much you guided me through the hardest season of my marriage and you're
Oh,
engaged. You know what I mean? So I know you're gonna be a phenomenal wife. You're doing it the
that
right
was
way. You're
sweet.
learning each other. Yeah. I'm proud
Thank
of
you.
you. I'm
That
so
was
proud.
sweet.
You're my little sister, but you're my big sister in ways
We're
I'm
not
supposed to
that far
be.
apart.
We're not, but you've always just been very you do a lot of self-work, you know? Um
Thank
I don't
you.
know if that's just you being the baby and seeing our brother and then me just make a whole lot of mistakes. And then you're the baby and you're like, oh, hell no, I'm not following after y'all footsteps. But yeah, you've done a lot of self-work. So I've learned a lot from you and I'm excited for you to actually maybe talk about, how to prepare better for marriage because you helped me prepare better to be a wife, So thank you.
Yeah. And I've learned a lot through you too, and seeing, just being young and being married already and being strong. I think you're a very strong wife. And, in times maybe that you weren't, you knew you weren't being it strong, and, you got there through faith, of course. So
Amen.
yeah, amen. Well, this
Amen.
was so fun. Podcast. No, but this was such a great podcast.
So
I
what's your
was
future? What's
Oh,
your future with
okay.
this podcast?
You're
What are
coming
you
back
gonna
on
do?
me.
I
I
missed the first
really
episode. Like, what are we gonna expect with the rest of this show?
I really want to have everybody and anyone on here that can come with things that women and men can learn from. And, you know, being young, being in our 20s, figuring it all out, it's kind of hard, you know? And I think listening to other people as yourself who has overcome so much stuff, you know, with social media, relationships, OnlyFans, money, financial, figuring out what you're going to do financially. A lot of women in their 20s are going through that. It doesn't even have to be people with followers. And one thing I really want to do is I don't even care to have people on here that, you know, do have a following. Like I'm having my friends on here because I've learned stuff from them. So I just want to help. And I get so much help from other people's experiences. Yeah.
Right.
So like I want to
so
put it
excited.
on there. I want to put it publicly.
Love
So
it.
thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You did so good. And I'm going to have you back on again later. I want you to start up your stuff first. And then we can also talk about more about marriage and stuff. But I would love for you to have your time to have that first, I think.
Okay. I love that.
You did great.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to come on again. And I'm excited to see all of the phenomenal advice and conversations you're going to have with people.
Thank you, sis. Well, do you want to let anybody know what your social media is if they are hearing you for the first time?
Yeah, so my name on social media is JadaAmor, JadaAmor. That's what I go by. On TikTok, I am Jada the Vegan. We're about fitness. I don't really use social media besides that. Oh, but you can support just this gotta go first, honestly.
Yeah.
But you support my business.
I was gonna say that.
Jada.
Honey Buns by Jada.
Yes,
she
I'm an
is
esthetician.
An esthetician.
And I
Really
love
big, yes. And you're actually redoing your entire studio. Gotta tell people, sorry. But you are located where?
In Las Vegas, Nevada. Yep, I'm independent and I'm by appointment only, but if you could come in if you're watching, I love my clients dear, and I'm actually a Brazilian waxer. I specialize in Brazilian waxing and facials and bleaching. So that's my specialty. So yeah, if you're watching and need a wax, come to me. That's what I do now.
I love it, and you're great at it too.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Jada. It's been a pleasure to have you. I will call you after this.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.